Okay, just give me your big picture as you look at that scene right behind Mike Memoli, as you see the people who they can't go in, there's no big crowds that are going to be gathered for this event, and yet you know what people have been putting on social media, the phone calls, the text messages that have been exchanged over the last 24 hours. What are you thinking as you watch this scene unfold?
I think, Chris, people are excited. People are motivated, and people are ready to engage with Senator Kamala Harris as this historic VP selection. She is the first Black woman, first South Asian woman to be named on the Democratic ticket in this capacity, and people are excited. I think the other detail that you mentioned, Chris, is that this was an undisclosed location. So people did some online sleuthing to even find this out and are ready to show up because this representation goes a long way. And we, at Supermajority, we conducted some recent focus groups and qual boards with women of color in key states, and this is explicitly what they named. They wanted a woman of color. They wanted someone who would challenge Biden. They wanted someone who would call out his blind spots. And Kamala Harris captures every single one of those qualities. And so really excited for this even initial showing of support for her, whether it's the fundraising, whether it's this crowd. I think we're going to see a lot more of it to come because she is a figure who is going to bring energy into this race. She's going to bring excitement to voters, and folks are really going to turn out behind her in support of her on this ticket.
Yeah, Phil Rucker, there's been a lot of talk, even before, obviously, Kamala Harris was chosen, about how much Joe Biden had such a close relationship with Barack Obama, how he wanted that kind of relationship with his vice presidential pick, somebody who would challenge him, somebody who he also felt comfortable with. But how much of this do you think is about his vision for America? And is that what we're going to hear about? Does she represent for Joe Biden the vision of America he wants to put out there today?
I think that's certainly right, Chris. I mean, she's a multiracial candidate who represents a younger generation in America and the diversification of America over the last few decades. And Biden himself has referred to himself as a transition candidate, as somebody trying to build a bridge to the next generation of leaders in the Democratic Party. He has clearly selected Senator Harris as the leader of that generation, and I assume we're going to hear some of that language in their remarks today.
I want to play a little bit of the campaign video that went out, obviously coordinated with Kamala Harris, that was put online as she was being announced. Let's take a listen.
America is in crisis, and I know Joe Biden will lead us out of it. He's a man of faith, decency, and character. He raised his family that way. I saw it firsthand with my good friend, Bo. As Joe says, we're in a battle for the soul of this nation. But together, it's a battle we can win. We just have to take action.
First of all, is the answer yes?
The answer is absolutely yes, Joe.
So, Michael Steele, I don't think there was any doubt about the answer to that question. Is the answer yes? Absolutely yes. But what are you going to be looking for as we see the two of them take the stage sometime, well, any minute now?
Well, a number of things. First off, what is the chemistry? What is the role as it plays out here? How do they connect with each other, and how does that connection then translate for the American people? Certainly, looking at it from an oppositional perspective, the Trump campaign and the RNC, for example, are going to be keying in on that, and they're going to try to figure out where that sweet spot is to begin to drive some different messaging, some anti-relationship messaging, if you will, keeping in mind that she wasn't as warm and fuzzy about Joe Biden a few months ago during the primary, and it stung Joe. And while Joe has a cart that says, overlook and don't
hold grudges.
Don't hold grudges. There are a lot of people, who are looking at this from, a partisan oppositional perspective, is like, oh, yeah, we're going to hold the grudge for you. So looking at how they roll out this relationship is going to be important, because it's going to be definitional to Joe Biden's ultimate point, how they work together in the White House. And so over the next few weeks, we're going to see that. And I think that's going to be an important tell of just how successful this team will be going into a first term.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.